Hello friends and family, and welcome back to the 2023 Discraft Ledgestone Open, presented by Merrill. Coverage brought to you by Run Productions. This is day 2 and the ladies are at Sunset Hills. My name is Holly Finley.
And I'm your girl, Sayananda.
Yesterday we found the ladies at Northwood Black Shorts in the wooded course, but today is a nice open ball golf course, a bit more OB than yesterday.
Not without its technicality. We've got a couple island holes and some water that's going to come into play as well. We've got Maria Oliva, first parked at 17%, first in birdies. We also have Sarah Gilpin, 11th in fairway hits at 71% of round 1.
Next on the card, everyone knows her, Juliana Korver, first in parked percentage. And rounding out the card today, Lisa Fajkus, Team Lone Star, first in circle 1 putting at 100%. Not a new stat for Lisa. She's always been doing that.
That is such a gangster stat.
Let's check out hole 1, a 636-foot par 4 right off the bat. You've got OB on the left. You can leak over the sidewalk a bit, but the closer you get to the woods, the closer it is out of bounds. Hopefully you'll pump about 3 to 390 off the tee, and that'll leave you with 200-foot upshot into this treacherous sloped green. You really have to be careful with your angle control and speed to not trickle down to the water.
Maria Oliva.
It's a quality dust bag.
You get a good wind read as well as a little bit of tackiness on the hand. I think this is a really interesting first hole. We have this wide open tee shot that can kind of be relieving, I think, first thing in the morning. But then it gets real very quick with that green. Beautiful setup for Maria there.
Next on the tee, Sarah Gilpin.
Being a former Wisconsin resident and Sarah living in the Iowa-Illinois area, I've played quite a few tournaments with her over the years. Very safe, conservative golfer.
That's, I'm sure, what put her in this position right out there at Blackwood. That also is looking like it's going to set her up for a great second shot.
Juliana Korver.
Juliana Korver ripping on her star turn. That's
Getting
what she
every
uses
bit of
for
distance
max
out of it.
distance.
Yes, it is.
Our 9:35 tee time, Lisa Fajkus.
I've heard her say it many times. If I'm throwing a max distance shot, you can bet it's my turn.
Lisa Fajkus, one of my favorite players to be on a card with as well as watch.
Flashing a smile there, kind of help the nerves. I like that.
Everyone off to a solid start.
Let the treachery begin.
First up, Sarah Gilpin. What you need to do is get your upshot past that big tree. Push it towards the back wall with a gentle finish, just like this. Hopefully.
See, and you
Maybe.
could even spell it out letter for letter, you
or
know?
not. It's out of bounds down there, and without a spotter, I'm not sure how that ended up.
It's very, very challenging to get your disc to really match the angle of the land so you don't get any like side to side when you skip. That was a really good example. And it looks like she touched on that tough, that thicker grass that helped her out a little bit there. I see most people opting for this hyzer shot for the approach. Oh, that's going to be a tricky one too. They're going to have to put on eyes on that one as well.
Yeah, that was a little short and maybe a touch too high. And Maria has really good distance. She can throw 400 plus, so she's able to do a standstill berg into circle 1. That'll give her a birdie look.
And that berg, yeah, settled very nicely for her.
First up, Juliana for birdie.
If that's the furthest putt, some decent approaches other than the, the out of bounds part. That's a great perspective. Right? Please, no more.
Lisa Fajkus for birdie. Well done.
Birdie.
That can be an intimidating putt with the downhill slope, out of bounds behind. I like the position Maria's in, more to the side of the basket.
Agreed.
Maria captures a birdie here on the first.
Well played and making it look fairly simple. Sarah definitely wanted to make that comebacker for sure, but a par, no sweat. There's going to be plenty more birdie opportunities out there for both these ladies. And we are off and running with 2 birdies and 2 pars on the card. Moving on to hole 2 here, we've got a par 3 at 313 feet. This is a nice little birdie opportunity. You've kind of got 2 pathways you can choose, either an anhyzer or perhaps a forehand to the left side. But I think most players are going to be trying for the large hyzer line. It's probably going to check up right near that tree and scoot you right under the basket ideally. Hopefully that sidewalk that's OB to the left doesn't come into play at all. Got Maria teeing off first, opting for that nice hyzer line as well.
It's a really aggressive height. Let's hope it drops quickly. And it does. Perfect in the bullseye.
Good disc selection and good shot execution there.
Oliva will have a drop-in birdie.
Making this round look easier and easier as it moves forward. Looking good for her so far.
Lisa takes a more common lower line, also trickling inside the bullseye.
Fantastic. These are, at 313, you definitely want this birdie, but these ladies are making it look easy. They're filleting this hole. This also has a pretty good potential here. Oh my goodness, Ollie.
Sarah Gilpin gets up there with a birdie look.
This also has some nice movement on it.
It does. Everyone in the circle, everyone has a birdie opportunity.
Juliana first to putt here. Looks like she's just inside the circle. Ooh, a bit of a connection.
A courageous putt, though.
Yes, absolutely. With the drop back there, these ladies certainly came to play. Maybe feeling that danger, that drop in the back.
The sidewalk's out of bounds, as I told you in the hole description. So Lisa, however, she was only a couple of feet away, and she will walk away with a birdie. And Maria with the CTP birdie. Very well done.
Mm-hmm. Tapping in her par. Moving on, still some nice clean scores.
I don't know if you know much about Sarah Gilpin, but she's actually a world's putting champion.
I did not know that. That's a cool accolade. I'm sure a hard one to live up to sometimes.
Open champion, Paul McBeth!
Welcome back, Ace Runners. Hole 3, a downhill 384-foot par 3. All of the sand traps you see up there play as hazard with a stroke penalty if you land in them. Also, that sidewalk on the right, out of bounds. This drone flight is a more conservative common route, but a more aggressive route would be a hyzer through the right side, possibly swinging over the sidewalk and back in bounds. Just depends how you want to get a birdie look. First up, Maria Oliva. Oh, this is the aggressive route. I like it.
Really depends on the wind. If you've got a left to right, it's gonna... Ooh, that's unfortunate.
She sent it too long over the sidewalk, out of bounds.
There's only a few mistakes you can make on that shot, and that was a big one.
And that's really the biggest risk of taking the right side route. You know, you have to push that sidewalk.
She did get some distance, but I don't know if she'll have that much of an opportunity to save par from there. That's looking pretty nice.
It's about a 45-foot uphill birdie putt.
And a no-nonsense par if you don't want to mess around with those sand traps. Oh,
Exactly.
I like the wider anhyzer is an interesting choice there. Unfortunately got caught up. That's going to be a tricky approach with those sand traps.
It sure is. Now, this is the preferred route that I like. Under the limb, just scoot yourself up there, maybe circle's edge, and take a putt at it if you're feeling brave.
Not too much of a dangerous putt. It's a little bit more uphill, I can see that. Opting for a forehand. This looks like it should be getting up there pretty good. I like that, up in the circle. A nice opportunity there. Maria outside, maybe just circle two's edge. Looked like she tried to put a little bit of air underneath it.
She could have saved par with that.
Stayed safe, fortunately, though.
Have to settle for a bogey.
I felt like that wanted to be a run, but maybe the body didn't let her on that one. Could have been a strategic layup, though.
You can see Lisa eyeing it up, deciding, is this worth going for it or not? And she decides that it is not.
There's a lot of birdie opportunities out here.
Yeah, if you get a birdie here, it's strokes on folks for sure. I kind of consider this one a bonus birdie.
I would agree. Not the easiest birdie, but still attainable.
Everyone's able to get it, but is everyone willing to risk that putt?
Mm-hmm. No one carding the bird on this one.
And Oliva with the only bogey.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're moving on to hole 4 here. We've got a par 3 that's going to play over the water and just to the left of that tall grass as we're wrapping around the corner. This one has a decent amount of elevation that this drone really doesn't quite show you, and a lot of those tree branches to the left definitely come into play. I would say that sand trap is definitely a high mistake zone. People wanting to push it over the water, make sure they get it over, maybe carrying straight. But I would say this is an easier birdie than the prior hole.
You have to make sure you get below the canopy, all the way to the basket. One trickle of a leaf on your disc can take all the speed off and send you into the water. Lisa clears it perfectly, and she's up there in the zone looking at a birdie putt.
Oh, the CTP was awfully close on that one, if you saw the little...
I did.
That was close.
That's cutting quick.
Oh, boy.
That was really lucky. Oh, the leaf does it to her. You cannot touch any leaves on the way there. It just seems to be what happens 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be a tricky shot.
Clear of the leaves.
Looks like she put just enough angle on that one to not push too far forward. Ooh.
That was a beautiful shot.
Mm-hmm. Angle control, super important. You definitely don't want to let the disc get too flat out there.
Maria staying clear of all the shrubbery, clipping a little bit, but right there she was already over the island And she looks like she's parked.
Yeah, little bit more low and direct, but similar result there.
I believe that was the Throjo's artist on her bag.
Oh, how cool.
Sarah Gilpin up first.
I liked the height on that one. That was nice.
Yep.
Good
Sarah
touch.
will have to play for a bogey.
Oh, uncharacteristic miss there. Hopefully she can shake that one off and keep moving forward.
You know how sometimes when your putt is looking at the water, it just
And
psychs you out a little bit.
look right at the water. Mhm.
Right. Juliana gets a birdie, though. Lisa Fajkus with a birdie as well. That's 3 birdies already for Lisa.
I was just noticing the same thing. She's kind of lighting up the card. Juliana kind of breaking the seal first of all here. Carding the par. Got a little bit of up and down golf, but lots more to play.
Hole 5, a par 3, 246 feet, a water carry. This is a shorty, so off the tee, a lot of players might throw a putter or a mid. I'm a firm believer in throwing whatever is going to get you the birdie, and if you watch any of Ace Run's videos, you've heard me say that a lot. Owen Scoggins probably throwing a speed 13 here.
She was the first person I thought of when you said that too.
Absolutely. You've also got water out of bounds on the left by the basket.
And that is definitely an easy miss out there.
It is. You cannot hyzer at all, towards that water. It's really quick moving.
But it's such a short shot. It's so easy to do.
Just
It's
like
so
that.
easy,
It
yeah.
looked like Lisa was parked, and now she's out of bounds. You've really got to get a straight finishing shot, or maybe even something with a bit of an ante.
And the grass out there is not really doing any favors. It seems pretty short and pretty bald out there. Great touch on that one. Landed very softly.
I love the way it just hovered right into the bullseye.
You could tell that was the end of the flight. It didn't kind of hit the ground running. Mm-hmm. This looks stable, I'm hoping.
Ooh.
Well, that'll be funky.
Yeah, she could maybe straddle out and get a putt at it.
Just outside the circle, so not out of the question by any means. Oh, I got nervous when it started hyzering, but that had just the right amount of tempo. Another excellent shot from Sarah. Mo trying to figure out how to contort this shot here. Looks like she's got a pretty wide straddle.
It's a good looking open position to go for it.
Tricky to find power when you're that wide.
Lisa Fajkus saves par.
Maintain. Well done.
That's a good thing about this basket. There's no reason to short it. If you go for it and hyzer out of bounds like Lisa did, once you walk it back in bounds, the par putt isn't that long.
And I think that's a pro mentality.
Juliana does not connect for her birdie putt. Which,
She didn't hit the band though.
Right.
She hit the backside of the inner part of the basket, which was interesting. That nose down putt, but it just came up a tiny bit high. It seemed like.
let that one slip away.
At under 250 feet, this hole still showing some teeth.
And believe it or not, only one birdie here. Sarah Gilpin.
guys, welcome back. Moving on to hole 6. We've got a fancy par 5 at 712 feet. A relatively straightforward tee shot. We've got OB on that pathway to the right there, and then we've also got OB on the left side. And then a little bit of danger comes in as we move towards the basket, as your final shot is going to carry over water. Once you get onto the green, it's fairly simple. It's just a matter of getting good placement and putting yourself there. We've got Sarah teeing off first here. Ooh, I'm nervous. Oh, it turns over well. The OB on the left side, if you're hyzering too much at all, or if you're too high in the air, it comes into play pretty quick.
It's a very low conservative shot from Sarah, which is sort of her playing style.
And that's honestly, you don't really need that much distance unless you're looking for convenience.
But as Cy mentioned, we've got out of bounds on that hillside left now, and in years past that wasn't there.
See how close? You know, that shot looked excellent, but still cutting it a little close to her comfort.
Just a couple of feet from the OB.
Maria's
out of bounds
very
right now.
low.
She needs to move back in bounds.
Ooh, good skip there.
And she does. She
That's
throws
fortunate.
so hard with such speed.
Yeah, the rim spin that she has. She gets really excellent glide from it.
And from here, Sarah Gilpin is going to lay it up anywhere near the sidewalk, which will give her another very similar approach into the green.
I like where she's landed a little bit more on the left side of the pond. I think it opens up more of a hyzer shot rather than throwing this like straight beaming shot at the basket.
100%.
And I think it also takes away the possibility of maybe airing a little bit too long on your approach. Ooh, maybe... Okay, hit the ground quickly, but my approach looked similar and I landed way too close.
Maria's got the distance to attack this for an eagle.
And the confidence, absolutely. Hopefully that disc comes.
It's burning over right, though. It's still a putt.
Not going to cost her anything, really, yeah. And just outside the circle, certainly within range.
That tree could be a bit of a vibe killer for the putt, but we'll see when she gets up there.
Yeah, she's already stretched her legs out a couple of times here. This is a beautiful shot, looking really good. You almost want to aim it at that tree to the right of the basket. I saw so many shots where you thought it was going to hit the tree, and then it just hyzered right under the basket perfectly.
And if you do hit the tree, it's likely you're going to land in the water.
Not fun. So it's definitely tests
fine
your
line.
Tests your gall there. Lisa opting for a forehand here. Definitely not a bad choice. I kind of like the lower angle.
And that looked like it was going to clip the limb, but snuck right underneath it, and she is putting for birdie.
Very smooth shot. Very nicely done.
Oliva for eagle. Oh, that's set up nice.
I think you were right, though. Those little branches were just in the way enough. Awesome to have that opportunity, though.
Yes. Drop in birdie almost
Squirrel.
for her, and Sarah making a nice putt for her birdie. In the background there.
Yes.
And I think after the previous putting woe, we saw Juliana hit the cage.
Yep.
And that probably took away a bit of her confidence, which we could clearly see there. That's not the same putting stroke we saw in
one
previous
high.
holes. Lisa gets a birdie. Juliana taps in the par, and hopefully that long transition to the next hole, she can shake that off.
And we all know that feeling, sometimes when the pendulum, when the putt of the pendulum swings too much, sometimes it's hard to get it to steady in there during the round. Got a couple of birdies, handful of birdies and a par out there. Pretty decent on the hole.
Hole 7, a fun tee shot, a par 4, 575 feet. They've got out of bounds on both sides this year. The big throwers will go all the way on a hyzer shot around the right outside, swinging back in. The more conservative play, you'll just shoot it straight down the middle. That'll leave you with hopefully a 200 to 275 foot up shot, which will put you in the circle looking at a birdie 3. The way the course designers have put Sunset Hills together, we are able to birdie all 18 holes out here. So nothing is out of reach for anyone that's playing in this division.
This needs to get left. I think that's okay. It's difficult to see the white lines, but I think that's all right.
I agree.
This hole, I think, conceptually seems easier, but I feel like it just plays a little bit more difficult than you would anticipate. It seems like it would be a nice long stretching hyzer, and then potentially another long stretching hyzer to the basket, but you can run into all kinds of trouble in positioning out here.
I think playing to the outside right field just eliminates all those center trees, you know.
You put a good trusty disc out there and have it
does make the
hyzer.
second shot a bit longer than if you were to go down the middle.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But again, it's basically 2 hyzers and you're looking at a birdie.
Because even our conservative player has still opted for that wider route as well.
Yeah.
So there must be something that maybe is attainable there.
Kind of just stay away from going through the trees.
I just look at all that airspace.
Yep, work around them instead.
I like this. Going around that larger tree and scooping up to the basket. Mm-hmm. A little bit long there, but that's in the circle. Juliana, this is looking like a little bit of a tricky approach.
Oh, get over the stump.
Wow.
Look at this.
Very lucky.
She's looking at birdie.
Fortunate, her disc did a little extra work for her there.
Maria with the longest drive again, using a little berg for a chipper.
I cut that tree down, but still. Oh, Juliana looking to remedy with a long putt there, but
It had a pop of confidence, though.
And I like to see deciding to run it at all. She's really, feeling some of those nerves, but still trying to push forward, and that's the key. They'll go in eventually if you keep trying.
Lisa Fajkus had a birdie look, but popped off the top hat. Oliva in for birdie.
That was a fun putt to watch, because that was outside the chains almost the entire time before it dove in. Hyzer putts are one of my favorites to watch.
Gilpin making good for the birdie as well.
Just inside the circle, I would say a little bit of a tester. Cleaning that par up after the opportunity. Not too bad, but with how many birdies you can get on this course, there's always that undertone.
Juliana made good for the par putt.
Yes.
Looked confident, so she's back in action.
All right, and we have hole 8 here, a par 3, 292 feet, but this plays uphill. I would say it probably plays a little bit more like 310 to 320. We've got 2 routes you can kind of take. There's a low hyzer line, but it puts the sand traps to the right a lot more into play. I think you will probably see most people either playing an anhyzer or a forehand. Doesn't completely eliminate the sand traps, but it's a little bit more of an open line.
Uphill, low ceiling, it's really tricky to get up in the circle with a safe putting position on this hole. A lot of people are just happy to play it for par and move on to hole 9. I would consider this another bonus birdie. Very similar to that other uphill hole with the sand hazards.
Right? Not impossible, certainly attainable if you've got the distance.
A lot of times it's whether you're willing to go for this risky putt or not.
And I love that it kind of tests that, it tests that in a player, what if you're going to be aggressive and how much you really are wanting to fight for those strokes.
Everyone's sort of set up for that tester putt right now. Let's see if Juliana can get a wee bit closer. Oh, I like the angle on it.
And I feel like it's worth mentioning that it's a pretty technical shot to throw a disc at an upward angle, but still have the nose down and controlled. And these ladies made it look pretty good. Simple approach for Sarah there. Just kind of putting it under the basket. Yep, we don't want any funny business from
Lisa Fajkus is known for her putting, and she didn't want any taste of that.
She probably has a good intuition, you know? If it looks sus to her, she's like,
I'm out.
Yep, exactly. She goes for the putts she's confident in, and that's when you're going to make them the most.
Maria went long.
That was a great, confident uphill putt.
Incredible birdie from Oliva. That's a turkey for her.
Excellent. And to touch on what we were mentioning for fighting for that birdie, gophering for that aggressive putt, love to see that.
Because we saw Lisa was there for the birdie. She didn't want to go for it. Juliana, she was up there, and she kind of gave it a little bit of a bid, but I don't feel like it was a full send.
And those are opportunities out there if you can take them for sure.
And Maria, willing to take the risk, putting at the sand hazard, the solo birdie on the card.
Katrina Allen! Maria Oliva! She's done it! Kristen Tatar!
Side, Ananda! Stacy Deladia! Champion Open at Austin! Paige Pierce!
Let's check out hole 9, a par 4, 535 feet. This is a very fun hole to play. First off the tee, you got to decide, are you going to take the route the drone is flying, a nice little low ceiling hyzer that could give you a flare skip? And if you've got distance like Maria Oliva, you could possibly hyzer into the pond on your drive or even the OB circle there. Otherwise, you can play to the left side, which is a bit more conservative. But the upshot is actually the trickiest part about this hole. Oliva up first after a turkey.
Oh,
She makes it halfway to the green.
you can still fight for par from that one, absolutely. That conservative play can have some teeth with the OB, the long grass to the left there plays OB. It's easy to try and throw a conservative shot and maybe just not give it the full commitment and end up dipping left as the hill kind of tilts.
Elisa puts it under the canopy, gets a full flight out of it, swings back. She'll clip the tree. She's kind of in a tricky position from there.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of footing she can find.
In years past, the limbs that were in front of you for your second shot were quite low.
Okay.
And they trimmed them up, so it's a little more gettable this year.
Okay, yeah, attainable. I feel like I've heard a few players saying that. That it's cleared up quite a bit in years past. Similarly for Northwood as well.
Maria's not out of position to get a birdie, but it looks like she's just going to lay up and play for par.
Interesting. Especially after the aggressive play, you know, maybe just shifting it back into first gear.
She easily could have sent it long near the Discraft flag and then just, pitched back up to the stump for par.
But why stress?
Exactly. Lisa, she is brave. She goes for it, clears the pond. It looks like she's in bounds, and she'll have a putt for birdie.
And not too dangerous of a putt. She came up short, and it definitely, maybe made you suck your teeth a little bit, but I think that's a better putt opportunity rather than going long and having to putt back.
Sarah Gilpin has landed in a very advantageous position. Nice, open, not much of a low ceiling.
Checks up into the circle. Similar position to Lisa there, it looked like.
Still a tester, being that it's elevated. Look at this beaut. Off the stump?
What a graceful shot. Very nicely done, as Juliana puts it, within the target.
Juliana's about 5'10", 5'11", so an elevated basket isn't that intimidating as it is for, someone that isn't tall. I imagine that'll be a fairly easy birdie putt for her. Lisa Fajkus for birdie.
Oh, just tickling the chains there. Luckily stays safe. Sarah with a similar looking putt. Let's see if she can connect here.
And we've seen that out of Sarah on several holes now, actually. Hitting the front of the cage. And Maria putts, and she is out of bounds.
Yeah, that's too bad. It's always tough when you try to play the conservative and then it ends up biting you anyway. Oh.
Maria Oliva sets down a mini and her disc, but it looks like she's behind the disc instead of her mini.
Uh-oh, we may have just been a little bit frazzled there.
I just misplayed.
Oh, okay. She's realized it.
What happened? You played from. I think it's a 2-stroke penalty, and it's like what I
Finish the hole.
What? Oh, if you haven't finished the hole, so then this is just a one. It's a practice.
throw.
It's called a practice throw.
Yes,
so
it's a
it's
one.
So,
Oh, okay, yes.
For a misplay.
so
right?
now play from the right
Before
one.
you tapped out. That's because you
So
caught it.
Right.
Let me get out your
If you would have tapped out the wrong one, it would have been 2, but now it's just 1.
So I just.
Correct. I believe so.
I think that's
it's
great.
a practice throw.
All right. Well, luckily she caught it there. Unfortunately, she's going to walk away with the triple, but she ended up playing the hole correctly with the help of the card. A lot of birdies back there, or a lot of birdies still to be gotten, and I'm certain Maria's not doused her flame just yet.
JK for birdie. From 15. It's not in.
Oh.
She thought about it longer than
Then she
thought
usually
she-
does.
yes.
Yeah. It's just one of those days.
drop in par.
Feels worse than it actually was.
No birdies to be had there, and a bit of a lunch money stealer for Oliva. Unfortunately, just wiped clean that beautiful turkey she earned in previous holes. And after a bit of the front half and a couple of finishes already, let's take a look at this top 10.
Owen Scoggins at 5 through 11, looking really nice. 6 through 8 is quite hot for Missy Cannon. Some good golf to be had despite these courses being pretty technical out here.
If you would like to support me, I have some Innova Star Color Glow Its available on the Innova store. I'd love if you'd pick some up. Also, pharmacbd.com, use code HOLLY for 20% off.
I also have a selection of some awesome bears with me in person. If you ever catch me after a round, feel free to come say hello.
Bring a wad of cash.
Or PayPal.
Or PayPal, Venmo, Cash App.
And I always love random presents as well. I've gotten so many this season.